Alright, so I believe this is going to be our epilogue now. I think this is a Chapter 7 epilogue. I have noticed a buzz and people talking about stuff recently, and I'm like, well, let's address it. Let's address the elephant in the room. You may have noticed that in the last few weeks, for some reason, it looks like viewership on DSPGaming has dwindled a bit. And you're like, well, I don't get it. Phil's playing big new games, like the Mortal Kombat story mode, or Lies of P. I mean, Lies of P is huge. People were interested to find out if this game that's not from FromSoft would play like a FromSoft game, and it's great. Like, I'm absolutely loving the game. It's everything you would want from this style of game. It's just as good as a FromSoft game, in my opinion. Every time I stream it, viewers come out to support and enjoy, and they treat it like a FromSoft game. So why on earth are the views for my playthrough seemingly really low? Part 1 of the playthrough only has 3,000 views. Even for any new game, that's low. If you take a look at the other games that I've been playing recently on this channel, you know, Starfield has over 6,000 views for Part 1, right? Armored Core, a game that, honestly, I don't think a lot of people really cared that much about, had over 4,000 views for Part 1, right? Can't believe Phil's still talking about views. Views. Yeah, views. So why on earth would this playthrough only have 3,000 views on Part 1 and then basically only 1,000 views for every other part after? It seems a little weird, doesn't it? Now, the thing is, if you take a look at other playthroughs I've done this year, they vary. Earlier this year, some playthroughs were doing superbly well. Like when I did Resident Evil 4 Remake, that did really good views for the channel. Like probably the biggest playthrough I've done all year long. And other playthroughs followed suit. But it seemed like at some point during the summertime, alright, my viewership dwindled a little bit. Admittedly, you knew that would happen. Why? Because I was playing a ton of Street Fighter 6 and a bunch of RPGs. Let's be honest, the RPGs weren't that great. Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, they were boring to follow along, especially Final Fantasy 16. That game was a snore fest, right? I did some retro stuff, but I wasn't expecting to get giant viewership playing Chrono Trigger. You see what I'm saying? So, in general, it wasn't a big deal. But then when I start playing newer games, you're like, well, you think that, you know, the views would spike again. And they definitely haven't.
Maybe a little bit, and now it went.
So looking at this, you know, the last couple of weeks, I've noticed this pattern. And the thing is, and this is why I'm telling you it's not a concern for me, my revenue, meaning what I make, has not gone down in any way, shape, or form. Because I track it every day. You know, on YouTube it says, here's what you made on YouTube today, and I see what I make on a stream in a day. Literally has not been affected in any way. Things are good. You guys are supporting the streams. The ad revenue on YouTube is the same. So does that, just think about that. If you're getting distinctly less views, how on earth could ad revenue be the same? It wouldn't make sense. Ad revenue is based on how many people watch your videos with ads enabled. So you're telling me that on a new playthrough, typically in the fall, especially a one like Lies of P, I definitely thought was going to be bigger, okay? You're telling me on a playthrough like that, right, that with a significant decrease in viewership, supposedly, that I'm making exactly the same ad revenue. How does that make sense? It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. So, you scratch your head like, how does that make any sense? Maybe it doesn't at all. Maybe it's just a thing on YouTube that they've done, and somehow they're not counting a partial view as a whole view. Maybe they're cutting out certain kinds of views. Maybe they literally just tweaked a formula and it screwed everyone's view counts up. I have no idea, okay? I don't know. And the thing is, there's no way I would know. YouTube doesn't say shit about this kind of stuff. In fact, when you usually ask YouTube, they'll deny. Years ago, they absolutely denied the fact that people were getting unsubscribed to channels when we had empirical evidence it was happening, okay? Now, of course, my naysayers and hate watchers would say, well, this is only you. It's because no one likes you. Ridiculous. Like I said, my streams have been doing well. I've been getting great consistent viewership, great support. Everything there is fine. And the thing is, I decided to compare this with other YouTube channels. Okay? At this point, I seriously don't even care anymore. YouTube is just such an afterthought to me at this point. Directly comparing my channel with others, I've seen exactly the same patterns. For example, I'll just give you one example that I 100% noticed. There is several channels that I look at, okay? But these channels that I look at, for Street Fighter 6, okay? Whenever I'm going to play a character in Street Fighter 6 during a ranked session, typically what I would do is I would look online for gameplay from top players. So, for example, if I'm going to play with Lily, well, I'm going to look for footage from Hibiki, and there's two really top Lily players. And so I always look for videos of them that people archive, and what they do is they take their online matches and they edit them out. It had footage of Lily on it. Usually gets hundreds to thousands of views per video. All of a sudden, about a week and a half ago, this channel's videos went down to double digits. Can't even crack 99 views on a single video on the channel. And these are videos that have been up for 2, 3, 4 days, and they have like 50 views. Huh? But it's the same channel. The channel content didn't change. You know what I mean? The guy didn't get banned from YouTube or whatever. So why has the viewership gone from thousands or hundreds to 50? What? You tell me. Is it suppression? Is it that YouTube has kicked it so far out of the algorithm for some reason that no one can find that content unless they already know it exists? Does it not show up in the search engine anymore? Is it that YouTube is counting views differently? I don't know. And I went and I checked on about 4 different like Street Fighter channels, and they were all suffering the same thing. Now, I'll be honest. One thing I did notice, it doesn't seem to affect big people, because big people already are virally known. So whenever a big person, makes a video, there's already so many people going in there that likely the aggregate views kick it into the algorithm and people are finding it anyway. But it might be that basically they changed the algorithm yet again. So now only people who actively check your page can find your content, and it literally is not getting suggested to anybody else. So imagine if you're a small-time YouTuber and you're trying to get noticed and you make a unique video, but just because you're a small-time YouTuber, your video will never get found. Even if it's pertinent to what someone's looking for on YouTube, your video will never be selected to be suggested in a search result. But a big YouTuber who's already on top, theirs always gets suggested even if it's not even pertinent to what you're looking for. That's why my videos, honestly, don't show up in search anymore, because they changed the criteria so much to hurt people like me and only cater to the big YouTuber. Could be what's going on. I don't know. I don't care. Because, again, it won't affect me. What I'm looking at is viewership, and I'm like, even though it's claiming that overall views on my channel are good, the video view count looks low. Just think about that. It's telling me my views are on par with what I usually get, but yet all the videos I'm putting out seem to have lower views. How does that make sense? It doesn't. There's something weird going on, okay? I don't know what it is, but I don't want anyone to panic because it doesn't really affect me. You got to remember something, okay? My business operates on crowdfunding primarily. It's revenue from people who support the content directly. As long as you're watching it, you're engaging with it by liking streams and videos you're enjoying, by leaving comments on videos, by interacting with me on the streams, and then for those who go above and beyond with super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships, and tips. When that stuff keeps going on, that ad revenue factor isn't a huge factor. It is there. Don't get me wrong. Ad revenue does happen. And in fact, the next few months, it's typically October, November, December. These are the 3 huge months for advertisements on YouTube where ad revenue will spike. Typically, I would see a little bit of an a little bit of an increase in ad revenue for these 3 months. It's usually not a ton, but it's a bit, Now I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm curious, will this actually not happen this year? Will there be no increase because YouTube is essentially suppressing views on content and only promoting the ones that they think are good? I don't know.
My focus is on the live streams and not YouTube. I make more money off of Twitch than YouTube. I am a live streamer. I am not really a YouTuber anymore.
But the good news is, I am kind of immune from it. I've built this model, this business model, that's very different from what a lot of other people are dependent on. Most people are dependent on the ad revenue on YouTube or paid product placements. That's literally where all their money comes from. That's not where any of my money comes from. It all comes from crowdfunding and your support daily. So as long as you like the content and you support it, I'm here and I ain't going anywhere. I don't care how low the views get. I know people are watching because people interact with me every day. We're talking with each other. We're hanging out. The content's getting watched and it's being supported. So I have nothing to be afraid of. But whenever YouTube has something going on like this, people freak out. Oh my God, I see that this is down and that is down. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. It's Chicken Little mode, right? It's not. It's really not. I've been through this a million times in my YouTube career of 15 years now, and it's not a giant deal as long as we stay the course and everyone just keeps enjoying what they're watching. Don't care about the view count. I don't. I know when I play these games, I have a great time. I enjoy them. I love the podcast with you guys. The React Show once a week is great. So as long as we like the content and people support it, then who cares what the view count says, right? It doesn't matter at all. You know what they said is that you can be completely set for life based on essentially having a customer base of about 1,000 customers, you know, and in any kind of business. So, hey, as long as I got 1,000 people who like what I do and they come by and they support, I don't really care what YouTube says about views. It doesn't matter. Because this is how it's always been on YouTube. They fuck stuff up, and now we suffer the consequence. But you know what? I'm okay with that. Really, I'm okay. Listen, I'm happy where I am. Thank you all. Don't worry. I'm not worried. I'm literally not worried at all. It's I keep seeing people bring it up. Oh my God, look at the views, the views, the views. Like, who cares about the views? The views don't mean shit. The views never meant anything, you know? Since my partnership with Machinima ended, you know, 2017? And even then, I wasn't on a per-view contract for like 2-3 years before then. So you're talking like 2014, 2015 was the last time the actual view count mattered for anything important on YouTube besides popularity club. Because that's really what it is. It's like high school. Oh, who's in the popular group and who's not? Oh, sorry, I'm not in the popular group of YouTubers who literally do everything to shill every fucking product, to milk their audience, and to make money every second. You know, I'm over here making curated content for people who I have a social relationship with and we care about each other because we're small time.
I don't need to be Mr. Popular and be making $1 million and getting hundreds of thousands of views on every video I put on YouTube.
Right? So we get it. It's a little different, right? And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that we have that rather than being this fucking pseudo celebrity sucking money out of people all over the globe. I don't care about that shit. So I'm very happy that it's a different situation. But at the same time, you gotta hope that YouTube allows you to keep having a living on that situation, you know? I'm okay. Like I said, don't worry about it. But I want to get this out of the way and talk about it today, address it. Meaning I've made more YouTube videos than any person ever on Earth.